Cato, New York's Regan Smith just seems to have a knack for getting it done on these tracks where NASCAR uses the restrictor plate engine package and the drafting racing comes into play. This was a year ago. He was barely ahead when the caution flag waved on the last lap and declared the winner of the race here at Talladega. Then at Daytona to open this season in February, squeezed ahead of Brad Keselowski by 13 one-thousandths of a second to win an incredibly close finish down in Daytona Beach. So last 7 plate races for Regan Smith between NASCAR's top 2 series. He's done okay. He just seems to have a feel for it. He's our ESPN in-race reporter on the day. He and the other drivers rolling out onto the racetrack now.
Regan Smith, Rusty Wallace up here in ESPN booth. You got us?
Yeah, Rusty, I got you loud and clear.
Hey, buddy, last time we saw you on a super speedway was at Daytona, and you won the race in the same car you're driving right now, but now you've qualified 32nd, man. Are you guys okay down there?
Yeah, we had a plan yesterday. Our plan just didn't really work out too good with the Ragu Chevy. So, you know, this is a fast race car. The guys at Junior Motorsports build this awesome speedway stuff, so really appreciate all their hard work. And hopefully it doesn't take us too long to get forward from where we're at right now here and get up there and battle with some of those guys up front.
All right, buddy, we got an ESPN mailbag question. It comes from Angelo in Litchfield, Ohio. And the question is, given that you won at Talladega last year and you also won at Daytona this year, is there something about super speedways that suits your driving style?
Well, I don't know if it suits my driving style or not. I just, you know, I enjoy them. I don't come here with the mindset of, oh man, we're going to a speedway. I come here with the mindset that, okay, it's an opportunity to go out and do a different form of racing than what we do week in and week out. Just try to be better than the rest of them at it. So it's a situation where I enjoy racing the big tracks, and looking forward to today's race.
All right, buddy, thanks for talking with us, and have a safe race. Now, Andy's going to speak to your crew chief, Ryan Pemberton.
Hey, Ryan, Andy Petrie, do you have us?
That's 10-4, got you, Andy.
Hey, Ryan, with all the rule changes that we've seen since last year, racing may be a little different. What's the strategy that you have today to make sure Regan's in the right place at the end of this one?
Well, it's really going to, determine how well you can get from, up through the pack if it's easy. Last year it was tandem racing, so you can go from the back to the front real easy. We'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. So it's going to be a lot more strategic if you can't pass. So, determine whether you get 2 tires or 4 tires or just gas only, and trying to keep track position. So I think the first part of the race, the first 40 laps, will determine how you have to play it out the next the next 2 pit stops. So it could be a short race. If it goes green, and you're looking at 2 pit stops. So sometimes not a lot of time to work on it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for talking to us, Ryan. We appreciate it. Hope that strategy works out for you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. You guys have fun up there. I think you're going to have a good race.
Dale Jr. looking on. His team has won 4 of the 8 races in the Nationwide Series so far this season. Onboard cameras riding today here at Talladega with Ty Dillon as our Chevy on board. Trevor Bayne has a Nationwide insurance camera. Regan Smith has the Goodyear on board. Chase Elliott with our Napa on board. Elliott Sadler, the Sunoco camera. Darrell Wallace Jr., the Nationwide insurance on board. Kyle Larson's carrying a Victory Motorcycles camera. And on pole position, Sam Hornish Jr. with our Toyota onboard camera. NASCAR.com. Try that again. Regroup. NASCAR.com/race buddy. I've only said that, 100,000 times in the last 5 years. Has enhanced action today live from Talladega Superspeedway. Please check it out. I promise I'll do better next time. Green flag coming up from the world's fastest speedway.
People love to say, well, anything can happen. At Talladega, anything doesn't just happen. It's standard operating procedure.
They're all wrecking behind you. Everybody's wrecking.
And anything doesn't care who you are, what lap it is, or how many laps you've led. The only lap that matters is the last one.
True statements. Anything can happen at Talladega. And we are about a half a lap away from the green flag for today's Aaron's 312. Couple things we can pretty much count on happening for fact. The closer we get to the finish, the more likely the big wreck. I don't want any Twitter messages or anything telling me I jinxed it. These are just facts from prior races here. The closer to the checkers, the more likely it is. Another thing we can pretty well count on, going to be a last lap pass for the win here too.
Well, that's when the business picks up. I mean, the intensity level comes up those last few laps, and it gets a little more risky as they get closer to the checker flag.
Tell you what, it's pretty tough to get these cars to the end of the race with all the wrecks that happen during the race. And I will tell you, as a driver, the only thing I'm paying attention to when they start this race is log laps, try to race, try to position myself, try to get myself up front. So with 10 laps to go, I can go racing, and I got a really healthy car left under my seat there.
Pole sitter Sam Hornish Jr. aboard the Gibbs 54 today has chosen the outside lane for the start.
Have a good day. You guys take care of yourself in the pits and have some fun. Appreciate it.
More, man. We're here for you. Make sure you're getting what you need out there.
So Sam with his first go for the Gibbs team today in that very potent 54 car. A couple of other notes to the rear. 42 car Kyle Larson. They made some adjustments. They did some body work to the car after a little incident in qualifying yesterday. Also going to the rear, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Mike Harmon, and Joe Nemechek for post-impound adjustments. The 17 had a driver change. Tanner Berryhill crashed in qualifying, didn't have a backup car. Chad Boat didn't qualify. Boat is in on Berryhill's provisional spot in Boat's 84 car. You follow me on that?
I think we got it.
All right, here we go. So, 117 laps for the 312-mile distance, the once-a-year visit by the NASCAR Nationwide Series to the world's fastest speedway. Here we go. Pairing beginning to happen. 3 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas in the inside lane, 3 Fords, 2 Roush Fenway, and 1 Penske on the outside lane.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little plan there on that start. You see how Sam Hornish and all the Gibbs guys lined up on the bottom side of the racetrack. I wonder why Sam took the outside lane. Now you can see how they had that planned out.
Ryan Reed, 16, Sam Hornish, 54 for the race lead.
So, I'll tell you what, it's really good to see Sam Hornish back in the car right now. And as we said earlier, this guy needs to win this race. He wants to get his excitement level back in, that he's back in the Nationwide Series. He's in a good car. A lot of people are pulling for him today.
It's like that outside lane's a little bit of an advantage.
I'll tell you what, Andy, right now it's going to be hard to tell what this race is going to look like, because the last time these guys were here at this particular track, we had the tandem style racing where they were bumper to bumper, beating on each other. And now we got the pack style racing. I kind of like this racing. Although they don't have much water in these radiators, and I got to be careful that they don't draft too close. Last year, 5 gallons of water in these radiators. This year, only 2 gallons of water. So they got to manage their temperature in these cars.
Fast mover in the opening 2 laps. Casey Kane in the 5 car started 31st, crossed the finish line there in 8th position in 2 laps around.
Well, that's a guy that really knows how to work this pack style racing, restrictor plate style, taking advantage of it early.
You just got to believe right now that NASCAR is really taking a close look at all these guys, because I really think what's going to happen, somebody's going to lock bumpers here, and NASCAR is going to bust them. That's going to send a message through the entire field. All the crew chiefs are going to talk about it. Hey, man, be careful. Don't push the limit, because NASCAR is watching. Because if you can lock bumpers just a little bit, it really makes the cars run faster.
I haven't seen anybody really do that yet. Even, I would think you would see a temptation to do that here, maybe a little more than Daytona. And they still might as it gets closer to the end. Right now, they're logging laps, and everybody's staying pretty clean.
Chase Elliott.
One of the big differences here at Talladega is the cars through the corners are nowhere near the limit of grip. They're not fast enough. They don't have enough power to go fast enough through the corner to be at that limit where they have to back off the throttle. So it makes it a little bit easier to drive them here, and those transitions are very smooth. but it's really intense when you see 3 wide racing all the way through the corner like this, and sometimes 4 wide.
Got some experience here in this outside lane. 5, Casey Kane now picking up a draft from Trevor Bain in the 6, Kyle Larson in the 42, and that's David Reagan in the 98 car, former winner here last year in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Yeah, and those 4 you just mentioned, Alan, are very, very good restrictor plate racers, so it doesn't surprise me that they had a plan, they got hooked up, and they're trying to make their way to the front right now. I mean, this is a good group of guys to draft together with. Because let's face it, you got to trust the guy you're running with out here. You're not running 150 at a different style racetrack. You're knocking 200 miles per hour out every single lap. You're 4 and 5 inches away, so you got to have an incredible amount of trust.
You see right there, Trevor Bain giving just a little bump to Casey Kane. You can see how much difference it makes. It just really pushed that 5 car out there.
Looking
That's totally legal.
43 Dakota Armstrong driving the Richard Petty Motorsports car. He has experience here at Talladega before. Been to a lot of racetracks this season where he's never raced before, but here he's running the ARCA Series before and NASCAR's Camping World Truck Series before. Sounds kind of odd, but for one of the young guys in this series, this might be one of the tracks where he has the most experience behind the wheel.
Well, you know, you can't beat experience, especially here at Daytona and Talladega. I'm sorry, Talladega and Daytona, because you got to understand what Dale Earnhardt Sr. used to say. I got to understand the air. I got to understand where to put my car. And the more reps you got on the racetrack, no matter what style vehicle, in my opinion, it's just better, especially here at the speedways. So if this young guy can do it, stay out there doing it.
Sliding in and out of the lanes, back in the field, but clean so far. Just underway, Ryan Reed, the early leader at Talladega. The early laps of today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Talladega Superspeedway are telecast presented by Victory Motorcycles. And the leader's Ryan Reed, as it has been with all of the about to be completed 10 laps that have been run thus far. From the world's fastest speedway to some short track racing next for this NASCAR Nationwide Series. In 2 weeks, it's the Iowa Speedway, designed by one Rusty Wallace. Sunday afternoon, May 18th, ESPN, 1:30 Eastern Time. A little separate site, short track shootout for the Nationwide guys, and that one's always a good one. You're biased. I said it. It's always a good one.
I kept my mouth shut. You know, I love it out there. It's one of the best tracks to have fun at. A lot of the drivers love it.
So in the opening lap, a little Ford run to the outside and then cut down in front of the 3 Joe Gibbs Toyotas that started in the top 3 spots, and it's been static that way ever since. Ryan Reed and Ryan Blaney, 1 and 2. Then Sam Hornish, Elliott Sadler, and Darrell Wallace, 3, 4, and 5. Dakota Armstrong, and now Ty Dillon in the single file line, and there goes Dillon up in front of Casey Kane in the outside lane.
Yeah, I've been watching. It's almost similar to what we saw at Daytona. It's like that outside lane cannot quite make it to the very, very front. And we're seeing basically Casey Kane was the one leading that charge. Nobody willing to step out of the inside lane up to the outside to help him. Looks like maybe Ty Dillon said, hey, I'm tired of running in this spot. Let's try and see how this works.
You know, guys, what I'm looking at right now is a lot of opportunity out there. There's guys running up front now that I generally don't see. I mean, look at the 20 car of Darrell Wallace Jr. This one of his first times in a track like this in the Joe Gibbs car. This guy's looking fantastic out there, running 5th. You got Dakota Armstrong in the 43 back there. Now, this guy doesn't have a lot of experience here, but he's up there running in front. I mean, it would not surprise me a bit if one of these young guys jumps up and wins this race, because it's just like the guys in the pit studio were saying, Ricky Craven and Brad Doherty down there, this is an opportunity race here at Talladega today, and a lot of guys want to run this race because they know they can win here. Handling isn't important. The most horsepower isn't important. It's all about getting in a good draft and getting lined up for the end of the race.
Ty Dillon there racing to the outside of Darrell Wallace and Elliott Sadler, up for about 4th spot, Doc.
And Alan, he was forced to pull up out of line because the oil temperature was 300 degrees plus a lap ago. They said, you got to get some air in the grill, so he pulled from the bottom line to the high side to have an opening in front to get some fresh air to cool that oil back down.
And something to keep an eye on there with Ty Dillon in the 3 for today.
Yeah, but it seems to be working. It's helping that outside lane with that 3 car taking the lead out there. Maybe they're able to pull up just a little bit closer to the very front cars.
Hey, talk about that 3 car. I mean, qualifying for the Cup Series was done a little while ago, and the top 9 cars were Chevrolets, Richard Childress racing engines in those cars. And so when I see this 3 car up front, it makes sense to me. These guys got some serious horsepower under the hood of these Chevrolets, especially here at Daytona and Talladega.
You're on board here with Elliott Sadler, who's running 4th.
This time's going to fade big time, I think, right here, man. Stay in line right there. There's only 3 of them up there. They got 3 wide back there and lost that top line help. Got a chance for a breakaway if it all works out. I also got a chance they're going to wreck 25 cars right here, but we'll see.
Brett Griffin, Elliott Sadler's spotter, giving him awareness of the situation around him on the speedway.
Yeah, I think it's optimistic to think that they're able to break away. This pack is really pretty well organized. That bottom lane does seem to have the advantage, though, and I think he's smart to try to keep him down there.
So there's a look at the front of the pack. 35 cars in this lead pack right now. And back toward the end of it, about 23rd in line, is Kyle Larson, who, remember, started at the back of the field. After a little contact during qualifying yesterday, they had to make some body repairs to this 42 car. That's unapproved post-impound adjustments. We saw Larson make a run up through the pack a little while ago, Dave, then drop back to the back of the pack. Now he's kind of halfway.
And Alan just went down to check and make sure everything was okay. Check with Scott Zipadelli, his crew chief, and he said, we're fine. We're just riding right now. Nothing wrong with the race car. And as you mentioned, they replaced the left side rocker panel. They fixed the door. They changed the side skirt there. And Scott told me it was more precautionary than anything else. They didn't want to do it at first, and then they thought, nah, we better do it. He said, besides, I can't start a race with a car that already looks like it got wrecked.
Yeah. So that's the update on Kyle Larson, who is running in 25th. Now, we talked about Dakota Armstrong in the 43. See him waving his hand inside the car, and see that left side window. The window net has come down, the safety net, to keep debris from coming into the race car in the event of a crash. You have to have it up. He's got to come to pit road here. He's being black flagged by NASCAR.
I tell you what, I had that come down to me one time. I was able to hold on to the steering wheel with my knees down the back straightaway and put it back up. But these seats are so confining right now, it's really hard to do that. It's got to be the reason he's hitting pit road right now. Just can't get up there to reach it.
Tough break there for Dakota Armstrong, but it's early in the race and a lot of time to try and get back into the lead lap and back in the lead pack and have a shot at a good finish. Ryan Reed has led all of the laps so far at Talladega. NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy has enhanced action today from Talladega Superspeedway, 10 HD live race views and more at that website, NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Ryan Reed, the youngster from Bakersfield, California, 20 years old. Best career finish in the Nationwide Series was a 9th place. He has led all of the laps so far today here at Talladega. We're just underway, just a little past 50 miles in. And he's had Ryan Blaney in Penske's 22 tucked right in his back bumper the whole time, with Sam Hornish Jr. driving the Gibbs 54 Toyota today, riding in 3rd spot.
Hey, well, for Ryan Reed, this kid's got to feel really good right now. He's had a tough year, some wrecks that really have got him back and made him really concerned about his driving style. But to be up front here at Talladega today, leading this pack, look, I don't know if he's going to win this race or not, but internally, as a driver, it sure does make you feel good. Looking in the rearview mirror and seeing those big guns behind you, and you're doing okay.
So, in the early laps, in this drafting kind of racing, or really in any racing, you're judging your car against your competition, trying to get a feel for your machine and what's around you, right? And that's what's going on with these drivers like Casey Kane in the 5, and he's talking about it with his crew chief and his spotter.
Tough to say. If everybody goes with us, it might be all right. I think it would be if Trevor will go. Okay, he's not going to do it yet. I'm going to get with the 6 so that he knows what's up.
That 3 and that 5 want to separate here a little bit and go up to the fence. They're making that plan that I was telling you about. So 3 and the 5 are on board. It's up to you, but I think that's what they're going to do, so just follow.
If I had help, I would shoot the middle because I would be able to pass all of them. The middle is going to be the fastest.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation about strategy of how to work this air, this new drafting style.
Well, one thing I can tell you, neither one of them knows exactly what's going to happen. So, and they don't have the nerve to jump out there by herself and see if it works or not, because they're trying to hook up all this radio communication back and forth. Again, early in the race is the time to do it, But you don't want to be the only one that does it and go from where you are now up in the front to the back of the pack. Because, boy, that can happen in this pack-style drafting.
It's one of the complications of needing a drafting partner in this style of racing, right? Sounds to me like what they're saying is Casey wants to try the third lane, thinks his car will be better up there, but Trevor's saying he thinks his car will be better in the middle lane. And since they're lined up nose to tail, if they can't agree on it, doesn't sound like they're going anywhere, right, Jamie?
That's exactly what Trevor's been telling his team. He said, these guys, I can tell they want to poke out and they want to get up higher, and it's not going to make sense for us. We're better in the middle. Now, Trevor told me before the start of this race, he either wanted to go to the front early or go to the back, but where he qualified, 21st, was a bad spot for him. He knows his teammate, though, Ryan Reed, is leading, so if he can get to him, they're going to go together.
Yeah, I think he's waiting on those other cars to try to maybe shoot the top. He's going to the middle, going to take their place on the racetrack.
Oh, absolutely.
Get up there with his teammate.
I definitely believe you on that. But there's one thing for sure right now. They're all being nice, and they're doing all this conversation, all this talk. And I can promise you, with 10 laps to go, they don't care about anybody else. They're going to do what they want to do and what they got to do. But right now, it's all this kind of figuring out what they think might work. I guess if I was them right now, I might try something.
Yeah, they're pretty selfish. They're trying to do what's best for them and their team. Right now, it's working with somebody. Maybe later, it's not the same guy.
Now, another inside the race thing going on here. A driver making his first run with a new team, a different make of car, trying to figure out what the team's preference is, what the configuration of the car is best set up for. Sam Hornish aboard the 54.
We think it's better to tap the brake a little bit so it doesn't lean it out. Brake would be the way to go there if you could use that.
Yeah, I mean, you constantly in this pack style racing, you have to crack that throttle or you have to break your speed somehow without running into the guys in front of you, causing a wreck. And he's just trying to figure out what is the best team-wise to do that. And they're saying drag the brake just a little bit, keep the throttle all the way on the mat. If you need to control the speed slightly, just use the brakes.
Well, I got a question for you. There's a lot of motorheads out there watching this race today, and he just talked about cracking the throttle a little bit and maybe leaning the engine out. I crack the throttle all the time at a place like Charlotte or Michigan or something like that. In your experience, and you work for the best of them, Andy, what happens when you run part throttle around here?
These cars run carburetors. They don't have fuel injection. It looks like Ty Dillon's getting something going here on this outside lane right now. But they run carburetors, and it's not as precise as far as metering fuel. And you really kind of gear these restrictor plate carburetors to be wide open all the time. And if you crack the throttle a little bit, it does change the way it meters the fuel, and it can lean it out.
Burn it down.
It can.
Somebody's pushing water
here.
Somebody is. Somebody's overheating. Now, we heard the report from Doc earlier that the 3 had the oil temperature go up, but the 3's at the head of a line. Wondering if it's Casey Kane in that 5 or somebody in that inside lane to the left.
I'm just wondering that they just passed a lap car there. Not sure if it may have been coming from him.
76 car Tommy Joe Martins with something dragging from the back of that car.
It just flew off, too. It looks like it's over there in turn 2. It looked like tape or something like that
to me. You'd think Ty Dillon in the 3 had controlled that overheating issue he had by being up front. He's had clean air on the nose for quite a while now.
Caution free so far. Ryan Reed continuing to lead the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Talladega. First caution out at Talladega Super Speedway, not for a crash, but for debris off of turn number 2. Pace car has collected the field up for the first time.
Yeah, hard to tell exactly what it is, but it came off of this 76 car as the field was going by. Looks like it possibly was tape, but it's hard to tell from here.
Yeah, it looks like about 5 foot of tape across the back of the rear bumper. Just came off and wadded up, and when you're looking down at that, you can't tell if that's a piece of aluminum, a thin aluminum strip that goes under the rear bumper, or tape, or what that is.
It looks like it may be both. It could have been a piece of aluminum taped onto the car, and it looks like maybe it all came off. But anyway, NASCAR want to take a look at it.
So with 35 cars on the lead lap here, and everybody coming down pit road, strategy being what it is, going to probably see a lot of 2-tire changes, which has its risks.
Yeah, we were talking to Ryan Pemberton about how he was going to call this race, and he said he wanted to see how they could move through the pack, and it's not been easy. I mean, we've seen it very difficult to move up. I expect to see people spend as little time as possible down there. Try to move up in this running order on pit road. And like you said, Alan, with all the cars on the lead lap, there's going to be quick pit stops in and out and some inexperience.
So somebody still trying to get to his pit stall is going to collide with somebody who's already gotten those 2 tires and is already leaving his pit stall. Something to watch for.
That's a tough thing, what you just mentioned right there, because it's the timing. You always get that off. Somebody always tears a quarter panel up. I'll never forget coming here with one of my teams. We came down and put 2 right side tires on, went right back out, and the left rear blew out. And I'm like, man, you guys should have put 4 on that thing. And it's always a concern, because on caution flags, you start picking up debris on those tires, which could cause the left side tire to go down.
See the green light and green flag at the pit road entry. That means open for business. Doc?
And expecting a lot of 2 tire changes. Someone may change it up on us. Now look, Ty Dillon, left top of your screen. And they have called for 2 right side tires and no significant change. And below him, the leader, Ryan Reed. And Seth Barber, the crew chief, says we're going to go 4 tires on Ryan Reed. 4 tires and top it off with Sunoco fuel. Dave.
One of the reasons they're going to give Ryan Blaney 4 tires is because he's felt a slight vibration. Could be something as small as a wheel weight. Sunoco fuel, slight chassis adjustment. Jamie?
The 54 Sam Hornish Jr., 4 tire stop for him. Said he's just a touch free. They made a chassis adjustment as well. All the way down here in the number 2 pit box. Down and away. Looks like he lost a couple positions there, Alan.
There you go with that variety of strategies. You see Ryan Reed losing 8 positions. The driver who's led all of the laps here, he had a close call leaving his pit box.
Just like you said, he actually made contact.
And that was after getting 4 tires. And there were still cars coming onto the pit lane getting to their stalls. Going to have a new leader when we go back to green at Talladega. Hollywood Armstrong changing tires for David Reagan today, and some of the tires that have come off some of the cars on pit road are very curious appearing.
I can see cords on that inside edge. Some of them are worse than others, but that's about, if you include qualifying, that's about a full fuel run. So if this doesn't get any better or worse, looks like it's going to be kind of close on making it on a full fuel run day.
True, Andy, and the crew wanted me to know that as well. They said about 14 laps in qualifying on these tires, so it's almost a run and a half that these tires have done. Here's Ryan's vibration right here where the inside shoulder was coming apart, and he actually did more damage when he scuffed the tires coming in and hitting his marks. So they changed all 4, got these off this car. This run should be a little bit better, they would think, based on the fact that it should be fewer laps and there's more rubber on the racetrack.
So a lot of crews and crew chiefs looking at what came off the car, and then drivers and crews having conversations about it.
I want to get a good look at these tires here, Trevor, and then we'll go from there for the rest of the day, okay, bud? I'd rather be set up to get 2 at the end, you know what I mean? Yeah, copy that. I'm on that same agenda.
I like that. I mean, to sit there and put 4 on right now early in this race, it's really no harm, no foul. I mean, you got a lot of time to make it from the middle of the pack back up. But I do agree. At the end of this race, the track will have a lot more rubber on it. It's going to be kinder to the tires. And 2 tires are probably going to work just fine. And that's the time to put them on.
Half a lap for the restart. Let's get it more on the tire conversation down on pit road. Doc?
Yeah, let's show you the right front tire, the inside shoulder of the right front tire off of Ty Dillon's car. You see a little bit of wear where it's just starting, the cord starting to be exposed there. Now, Danny Stockman, the crew chief, said, I'm not worried about that. What they are worried about, though, is that when they changed the right side tires, Ty didn't hear him and didn't wait on full fuel. They did not get it full of fuel, so now he's in a fuel conservation mode as we get set to go back to green.
It did seem like a short pit stop for Ty Dillon. I didn't know if they had gotten it full of fuel. I think we were in there just under 10 seconds.
Well, we've talked tires, we've talked fuel, and there's even more fuel conversation going on team radios like Casey Kane's.
Hey Casey, I'm late on telling you, but we got pretty good mileage there. Save all you can. We're about 1.5 short for making that one stop if we had to. Good for it.
Ernie Cope to Casey Kane there. On the opposite, we're getting good fuel mileage. Save me a little, we can make it on one more stop if we have to. So getting ready to go back green. First restart of the day. Caution free through lap 28 today. Ryan Reed led the entire opening sequence. Now drivers clustered toward the front with just 2 tire changes on the stops. The first one that took 4 tires, Ryan Blaney in that white and black 22 on the outside lane. And the green's back in the air at Talladega. Elliott Sadler in the 11 to the lead, drafted by Ryan Blaney. Now they duck down and protect that bottom line.
Okay, we talked about 2 tires versus 4 tires. Here's the 22 car we're looking at. Put 4 tires on. Alan, not much of a penalty to put 4 on versus 2. Guy's up in second place right now.
I don't think it was a real advantage. I don't think it makes the car go any faster here by putting 4 tires on, but that's a strong car. That 22 car is strong. I've seen him take that, go to the front with other cars and be able to clear from the outside. We haven't seen anybody really be able to do that, except I think he did it early in the race pushing Ryan Reed, and that's the only time we've really seen that happen. Casey Kane and Ty Dillon couldn't make that outside lane go.
So had a dozen cars just take right side tires on the stop, and the mix and mash of the prior leaders within the cars that took just the 2 tires is pretty significant here. Chase Elliott riding with him just took right side tires, tried to gain a little track position for the 9. And you see up in that outside lane, Ryan Sieg, 39. Whenever you get one of these restrictor plate races, there's always somebody that finishes in the top 10 that's that underdog of the day. Ryan was that guy at Daytona, had to start at the back because he missed the driver's meeting there, got spun out early in the race, came back and finished in the top 10 in the season opener. Now here he is all the way up in that 5th position and racing for more.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me this week, as Mike Massaro on NASCAR Now, what makes a good restrictor plate driver? And I said, I think it's more instinct than anything. I think some guys have just got a real instinct for this style of racing when you're trying to chase those holes in the air and all that. And I think that Sieg really has that.
I've got to agree with you on that. There are certain guys you look at it and say, oh, they're a good restrictor plate racer. You don't say, hey, they're a good short track racer or a road course racer. We always said that about Dale Sr. Heck, my brother Mike. A lot of guys always pick Mike to get in his car because Mike always had a sense for restrictor plate racing and still do. He drove your car a little bit.
He did, and so did his brother Kenny. And they both had a knack for this place, had some success with Kenny Wallace driving a 55 car for me.
Sieg shuffled.
Yeah, they did. They shuffled him out of line. It looked like he may have had to get out of the throttle.
Might have seen a little water shoot from the overflow on that 39 car just before he popped out of line. So he's going to go all the way to the back of this pack. So now it's Elliott Sadler up front, and the first single file is all the way back next to 8th place, Ryan Reed. Now, Reed was the leader in the opening run of the race, took 4 tires on the stop and a little bit of hesitation leaving his pit stall when another car was still getting in to the pit stall in front of him. So now the 16 trapped back in a little bit of traffic here.
A smoker.
That's trouble. 55, Jamie Dick.
To your outside, 2 more coming. Nothing to be here. Now get down as soon as you can. All right, bud.
There's a whole lot less room for error with these cooling systems. You don't have much reserve. That water system being only 2 gallons now versus 5 last year, it doesn't give you a lot of cushion on that water temp. If you start getting hot, it blows a little bit of water out there, and it's a big problem pretty quick.
I'll tell you what, we talked to NASCAR this morning. They were telling us about this. 2 gallons versus 5 gallons last year. And I guess, obviously the crew guys all know that, but for me, it really surprised me that there was that much less water in the system. You're talking only 2 gallons of water in that whole engine block, the radiator, all those lines. And these guys are running this fast with this much horsepower. That's not a lot of water to cool an engine.
Outside lane, a little rumble there. Brian Scott in the 2, trying to head that charge. Brian going to start on the pole for tomorrow's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at Talladega after their very exciting knockout qualifying session earlier today. Your leader's Elliott Sadler. Big steaming pack of race cars thundered around the world's fastest speedway at Talladega. Great side-by-side fight for the lead. Brian Scott 2, Elliott Sadler 11. They've been separated by inches at the finish line the last few laps around. That's good. I've been getting my practice in for the last lap.
Yeah, you need to practice. It's been close at the line, but Brian Scott has led a couple of laps from that outside lane. That's good to see how that's developing.
Last lap pass for the lead, 5 straight years and 6 of the last 7 at Talladega. Something to look forward to later on today. Here they come again. Let's see who gets it this time. Oh, that's an easy one.
Oh, he led that by 7.
He had him by a car length, yeah.
I tell you what, we're only 44 laps in this thing, and it's already looking like it's the last lap. You know, we talked earlier about we don't know what this race is going to look like. At Daytona, we saw a lot of single file racing and maybe double file. But remember, man, here at Talladega, these corners are so much wider, track's so much bigger. They can run 3 wide pretty easy, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm seeing that third lane. Brendan Gaughan is starting to drag that outside far out. We said the outside lane a while ago. We're really talking about the second lane.
Oh, trouble! James Busher spun! Does he come into traffic? Yes, more involved. 20, Darrell Wallace caught a piece of it, and a third car on the bottom.
I think that's Dylan Kwasniewski. It's got the hood up. In the 31.
Fired up. Get him fired up.
Yeah, Kwasniewski, he got a big part of that car. The whole front end's knocked off that car.
James Busher up there racing for the lead in that 99 car, and suddenly he was pointed toward the infield in turn 3.
Yeah, we've seen some contact. Looked like it was the 22 car, Blaney, that was trying to push Busher maybe a little too hard. That's too bad for Darrell Wallace.
Yeah, you got a feel for him. He had a great race going on. Qualified third, looked really good out there. Another guy going for a good opportunity finish we keep talking about. Now it's spoiled.
Yeah, just a victim. That's why you hold your breath on these pit boxes. You never know when this is going to break out. Just be an innocent victim in something.
This is what's on the driver's mind, though. You're just waiting for something like this that happen at these tracks. They're fast. And it's really not the track's fault. We all got steering wheels. We all know how to operate the gas pedal and the brake pedal. We just take advantage a little too much sometimes.
Okay, right here's the 99. You look right behind him, you'll see the 22 car of Ryan Blaney. It looks like he was just pushing on him just a little bit. And you can see it was starting to make that line move, but just a little too much at the wrong place.
And, you know, this is the reason NASCAR wants to take out the bump drafting. Obviously, he got hit in the back. The 22 car hit him, turned him sideways.
See, Ryan Reed did an outstanding job to avoid contact.
And he hit him at the wrong spot.
Yep.
Blaney hit him going into the corner. The worst spot to touch your car.
Darrell Wallace.
Caution is out. He had one on the apron. He had a couple up crash on the bottom back there. Hell of a job there, bud.
Amazing. More cars involved.
When you get a guy who's racing for the lead, turned in front of the field at Talladega, and you only get 3 cars involved, wow.
Some good driving, especially from that 16. He got a pretty good shot from Darrell Wallace. That might have helped him avoid it, but you can see that it caved the rear bumper in, but he almost made solid contact.
And I'm wondering how much of the back bumper of the 54 that Ryan Reed caught in that stack up too. All started with contact between James Busher and Ryan Blaney.
Come for such a big run, and 6 gave me a tap, and I just tapped into him. Sorry.
So the thoughts of Ryan Blaney after that, as he rides under the caution here. I'm curious in going back and looking at that if Elliott Sadler caught a piece of the 99 car when it spun down the racetrack in front of him. We saw sparks fly on the replay, but I don't know if it was from contact there or just from the 99 bottoming out as it came across the banking.
Well, I don't see anything right now. The car looks pretty clean. The air dam looks fine on it.
Yep.
The most important part of the car, the right rear quarter panel and the nose, are clean, so I think he's okay. Although he could have drug a front sway bar, threw a lot of sparks up. When those cars come off the racetrack onto that flat and compress down into it, they tear a lot of stuff up under the car. So there could be something under this car damaged.
So second caution out at Talladega. Pit road will be open here. Kept it closed while they got some of the safety workers there where some of the debris came to rest. They got it picked up and so on and clear the safety workers from the area. And here they come again. Doc?
And race leader Brian Scott will get left side this time. He took right side the first time. Left side tires. The guy's got to clean the grill. Down below him, Ty Dillon will also get left side to clean the grill. Don't worry about some temperature on the 3 car. Dang.
Elliott Sadler very happy with his race car. They talked about changing just right side tires this time. As for Ryan Blaney, they're going to get no tires changed. The front end looks good. Tear away a little fuel, he's gone. Jamie?
All right, whole variety of different strategies there. Ornish having some trouble getting going.
He'll have some ground to make up after that stop.
And so fuel only for the Penske team gets Ryan Blaney to lead off the pit lane. Talladega, the world's fastest speedway, where the action is always fast, furious, frantic, sometimes a little too wild for the driver's likes. James Buescher racing for the lead in that 99 moments ago winds up in the wall after contact from behind, collecting 3 other cars and ending his chances to compete for the win today. It was Buescher with Darrell Wallace Jr., Dylan Kwasniewski, and Ryan Reed, the cars suffering significant damage in the incident. Dave?
Wallace Jr. breaking it down with Kevin Kidd right now. He had a chance to watch the end of the wreck and actually what started it too. Darrell, talk to us about your evasive action, what you tried to do.
I don't know. I try to stay out of the storm of what produces here at Talladega, and it didn't happen. So it's just a bummer, man. I hate plate racing. I'm going to say that. I'm horrible at it. I hate it. I don't know. You know, we got caught up on pit road. I made a mistake. But I don't know, man. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to hold in all the words, but we had a very, very good Toyota Camry for this race, and I really thought we had a shot at, top 3 finish, and it just gets ruined by somebody else's mess again. So, I'm going to be the Debbie Downer here, and I'm not looking forward to Talladega for the truck race, so that's just the way it goes.
Glad he's okay. Jamie?
And Dylan Kwasniewski has been checked and released. You just saw the replay there, Dylan. What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like, the 99 got spun out and everyone was just checking up, 16 to 20, tried slowing up. But, it's hard at a speedway like this where you're carrying so much speed. But just thanks to Nationwide Insurance, Rockstar Energy Drink, Fraternal Order Eagles, and then we had a decent car. We just had to stay out of trouble, but unfortunately we didn't.
12 first-timers. You're one of those here at Talladega. What was your first experience like before this?
I mean, it was fun. It's a fun track. I mean, our whole game plan was to stay out of trouble, and we thought we were in a good place. I mean, we were at the bottom, but I mean, stuff like that happens at these tracks. It's a shame. I hate to get caught up in a wreck 2 weekends in a row, but we'll go on to the next one at Iowa, where we actually get to race and drive. So hopefully, Turner Scott Motorsports will have a good piece, and we can do good there.
All right, Dylan Kwasniewski staying optimistic. Let's go back to Dave.
It happened up front with James Buescher. James, can you tell what happened?
Yeah, I got to watch the replay in the hauler, but I was able to push the 2 all the way up to the front and get him in the lead, and he was staying high enough to let me get a draft to try to get myself clear, and I was almost clear of the 11, running second there, and the 22 just pushed on the wrong part of the bumper. You push on the left rear. We see it time and time again. You spin that guy around, and that was frustrating, but it's not the most frustrating part. I was able to keep my car down in the grass and below the apron, and on the apron, doing my best to stay below that yellow line so the guys could drive by and not tear my car up and put some tires on it and keep going. But somehow I managed to get hit below the yellow line down on the apron when I was trying to stay out of the way. So that's the frustrating part, because now we have a tore-up Bream Toyota Camry, and we had a shot to win this thing.
AB?
Frustrations of restrictor plate racing at Talladega for the drivers. Green flag back out. Variety of pit stop strategies. We'll talk all about it in a second here. First, let's watch how things shake out as this draft gets back up to speed. Brian Scott to the front in the 2. Elliott Sadler pushed him there. Now Scott down in the inside lane, defending that number 1 spot from Ryan Blaney.
I'll tell you what, I don't wish any cautions on anybody, especially what happened a little while ago in that big wreck. But these guys, it's like they needed a caution flag to calm them all back down. But you can tell they were getting really wound up, and it's really early in the race right now to be driving like that. But they're fired up. These cars are handling good, and this track is wide, and they can take these cars where they want. And right off the bat now, on this restart, they formed up 3 wide again, so it doesn't look anybody's listening to what I'm saying. Nobody's calming down. They're all getting after it.
Trevor Baynes, 6 in the middle, 3 wide. Ty Dillon, 3 outside. Look out, that's close.
Yeah, that was close. I'm not sure Ty Dillon realized they were 3 wide at that moment. Trevor Baynes been looking for that opportunity to shoot the middle and try to take advantage of that hole that it makes in the air there to get to the front. He does get up to second on that outside lane, or that second lane.
4 wide. Kyle Larson, 42, looking for some running room.
That's not surprising, is it? Kyle Larson, he likes that high lane.
Oh, yeah, you put Kyle Larson on the top of the racetrack, he feels real comfortable. You know, going back a ways, I used to talk to old Richard Petty about the top lane here at Talladega and Daytona. He said, Rusty, if something goes wrong in the bottom of the racetrack, it's a long way from the bottom to the top. And that's the reason I like running on top of the racetrack. If something goes wrong, it's a lot softer hit. A lot of different theories about why to run on the racetrack in different spots.
Brian Scott over Elliott Sadler by fractions of an inch at the start-finish line that last lap by. They continue side by side for the race lead. Now, quick updates from that last caution. Dakota Armstrong, remember, had the unscheduled pit stop running well early when the window net came down, got the free pass at the yellow. He's back on the lead lap. When you see the 43 in the mix, it is for position. A variety of cars. 10, 11 of them took fuel only. There were 5 of them that took 4 tires. The rest took 2 tires. They're all mixed in together there, and it's all jumbled up by now. So no clear-cut strategy call at this point in the race on anyone's part.
I'll tell you what, that was a good break, though, for that 3 car. The last caution flag we heard on the radio. They did not get it filled up with fuel. The caution flag came out laps later. He was able to get himself back in sequence now, so Ty Dillon is back in good shape at the moment.
It looks like everybody could make it pretty easy on one more stop if it does go green, and I think that's what Ty Dillon was worried about. If it went green from when his last pit stop was, he was not going to have enough fuel. He was going to have to actually make 2 more stops.
Talladega underdogs. Look at that white 76 car in the middle of that pack.
Did you see that shot that Ty Dillon took right there? You could just see how hard he was. Either he was doing the pushing or somebody behind.
You know, you're just worried about it, at least I would be, if you're bumping that hard and you're going to bend something under the car that's going to stay bent, which is really going to kill the performance of the car.
Yeah, that was a hard shot.
76 car there is Tommy Joe Martins, a 27-year-old from Mississippi. His first race at Talladega in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He's only run 5 Nationwide Series races in general. Younger man that went to Ole Miss, well-spoken, hard-working team out of the Nashville area. They've had their struggles to get going, but here at Talladega, the draft is the great equalizer, and here they are, running right in the thick of the lead pack.
And Alan, this is not a racetrack where cars handle bad. Most of the time, all the cars handle pretty good. It's because of the banking, the tires, all that. It's not like you're in Charlotte or Iowa or something like that where handling is everything. That's the reason these young guys can come here and run good on this racetrack. Just give me a good draft, and that's all I need.
Other white car in the middle there, 17. That's Chad Boat driving the car with Tanner Berryhill's number. Remember, we talked about Berryhill with the qualifying crash, no backup car. They used Berryhill's number. He had a provisional. That's Boat in the middle, started at the back, running up toward the front. Jeffrey Earnhardt right behind him in the 4.
You see our in-race reporter, Regan Smith, an outsider, the Daytona winner. That's the same car he won with. Now he's getting back up front.
And the vibration we pick up when we go to that roof camera on the 54 of Sam Hornish Jr.'s car, that is, look how steady that shot is from Trevor Baynes. And look at this one from Hornish.
Yeah, if you look, it looks like the windshield is actually loose right there at the seam line, and it's causing that turbulence where the camera's mounted.
I hope it doesn't feel that rough inside the car for Sam.
Well, it looks smoother. You still see that windshield moving, though.
So Elliott Sadler, Brian Scott, Brian Blaney continuing to fight it out for the lead here at Talladega. We're almost to halfway. Fast and furious at Talladega today. Next race for the Nationwide Series, little short track action. Iowa Speedway in a couple of weeks, Sunday, May 18th, 1:30 Eastern on ESPN. They'll be banging fenders and pushing and shoving there. Well, they're kind of doing that here at Talladega today, too, just at 190 miles an hour. Watched this a minute ago. Brian Scott and Elliott Sadler racing for the lead off turn 2.
Hello. That was close.
3 guys got a good run here. 7's got a gap. 7's got a gap.
Yeah, it looked like the front
Top of 3. Top of 3.
Elliott just pulled the back end of Brian Scott right around. Brian almost lost that car. Did a good job holding on to it.
Now Scott stuck out 3 wide. Regan Smith in the 7. Defending winner of this race, the Daytona winner from February, made a nice run in the outside lane. Now he appears trapped in the center lane, and that inside lane's moving forward. Gives us a minute to catch our breath, go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Dave, you're first.
Ryan Blaney has a real shot at the win today. That car he's driving finished second in the last 2 restrictor plate races, driven by veterans Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. So the rookie Blaney, in his first Nationwide restrictor plate start, he was involved in that big wreck, obviously. And spotter Joey Meyer told him, remember, when you bump, make it to the middle or right. And there's a bump right there, Alan.
Contact and trouble again in turns 3 and 4. Brian Scott racing for the lead moments ago, and others involved.
All 3 Richard Childress owned cars together in that wreck right then.
Trevor Bayne.
It looked like Todd Dillon. I couldn't tell how much damage he got.
Check it out. I'm coming your way. All right, boys. Be ready to lift up the right side. Bring some tires with you. Some hammers. Get the fenders off the...
Brendan gone. Now it's twice today now we've seen guys racing up at the front of the pack, have a little bumping and a little banging, maybe at just the wrong spot on the race car. There's Kyle Larson involved there, the white car in the middle. 74 is Mike Harmon. 23, Robert Richardson there.
Looks like they're just, these guys are really attacking that left rear quarter panel while they're drafting. It really seems like it's causing a lot of problems.
Let's see.
Oh, my. Yeah, that is absolutely the worst place to hit. And no reason for contact there because it wasn't going to help anybody.
And look at that, the 62-3 and the 2, all teammate cars, all in that wreck. It looks like Trevor, just like you said, Andy, got aggressive getting into that corner.
See,
right there.
Yeah, right on that left rear corner, he's got no chance. If you make contact with another car there, you got no chance to save that. I think Trevor just misjudged somehow.
Doing a little gap. Oh, check up. So low.
It doesn't take any contact.
Hold it down. Go high. All right, we got to check.
Larson did a great job getting down, but he got damaged too. He just missed the big crash up top.
This won't be a pretty
Spin it. Stay low. Come on, hold. Gas. Clear high. Move up. You're good. All right, bud. Good job.
Alan, you know I told you earlier at the start of this race how drivers agonize. This is what they agonize about.
Always, as a driver, it makes you more aggravated when it's somebody else's mistake that tears up your race car.
That's the deal. You can't get over it. These guys are cruising along, and all of a sudden something happens. I mean, you got to feel for Brian Scott. He's up there against the wall, running along, and he gets just nipped in the back. I'm sure Trevor never meant to do that. That's racing here at Talladega. That's the reason why I said you come in here unsure what's going to happen. You're agonized about it, and now you're disappointed. And the first thing you want to do is get out of here and go back and think about it. We saw Darrell Wallace Jr. so upset a little while ago. Tell you what, this style racing, it's exciting. This is what you got to be ready for, because it will happen.
And a lot of these drivers racing for the Nationwide Series Championship. So you see the effort by the teams to find a way to patch up these race cars, get them rolling straight, meet the minimum speed, and keep them going, because they also know there's likely to be a lot more cars end up in the garage by the time the checkered flag waves.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They can get a lot of this stuff fixed, and like I said, with the use of the draft, they can still keep up. If keep all the parts from falling off of it, not getting black flag. Looks like the 3 car is probably in the best shape of some of these that we see trying to get repairs.
Pit road still closed. An 8-car accident up toward the front of the pack. Has put us under caution just past halfway today in the Aaron's 312 at Talladega.
Spin it. Stay low. Come on, hold. Gas. Clear high. Move up. You're good.
What a spectacular day here in Talladega. Sunny 79-degree day at the world's fastest speedway. But slow is the order of the business at the moment here, as we're under caution for the 3rd time. An 8-car incident up in turns 3 and 4 has damaged a number of cars who look like they might have the ability to contend for the win.
Doing a little gap. Oh, check up. So low. All right, back it down. Hold it down. Go high. All right, we got to check the nose here, boys. We have to pack them. We're still wrecking here. Caution, wave them off.
Now, trouble in turn 3 for the last 2 yellow flags has left a number of cars dented and damaged. Trevor Bain's team continuing to work on his. Brian Scott's team, Brian Reed, Ty Dillon's there. Haven't missed any pit stops. The pit lane has been closed while they clean up a lot of the debris and liquid and so on put down at the entry to pit road by the wrecked race cars. And so still yet to see any pit stops under this yellow flag. Becoming a race of attrition, isn't it?
Yeah, it really has. I'm looking at how many cars are out right now. One thing that crossed my mind was it's almost a race in the garage area right now. Who can get their car fixed first and get it back on the racetrack to gain some of those precious points? And we see that here at Talladega all the time, always trying to get those cars patched back up. But again, you got to do it right, because if you don't meet that minimum speed right off the bat, NASCAR is going to park you, take you off the racetrack for the rest of the day.
So those are just the guys in this last incident and where they are in the championship coming into the day.
Now 7 of the top 10 in points entering this one have been in accidents today.
And we're far from done.
Oh, yeah. I'm afraid so.
You know what's still out there?
That late caution.
Yeah. Yeah. Check in with Dave.
Caught up with Brian Scott. Brian, obviously you were at the main part of what happened there. You've watched the wreck now. What do you think about what happened?
Well, I haven't seen the wreck yet. I came over here with hopes of seeing what happened. What felt like happened is the 6 got into the left rear corner of our Shore Lodge Camaro. And anybody that's done super speedway racing, you can't do that. It turns them immediately. Yeah, I don't know. Stupid move at a halfway through the race. There's no need for it. And wrecked a lot of good cars, tore up a lot of stuff. And it's unfortunate when you're a victim of stupidity.
And how good was your race car?
I felt like it was really good. I definitely felt like we had a shot to win. We were able to pull the outside lane, lead. It seemed like a lot of different people were able to work with us from a lot of different manufacturers, and I hated it. That Chevrolet was feeling good out front.
All right, Brian Scott out at Talladega. Alan?
Bad Saturday, hoping for a good Sunday. Mentioned earlier, Brian starts on pole for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race tomorrow. So after the cleanup, pit road will be open here. Eric McClure, free pass at the caution. Eric had made an unscheduled pit stop for a vibration earlier in the race that got him in arrears of the race leader. And Elliott Sadler will bring him down the pit lane.
Or not.
Oh, yeah.
There he comes.
Now the question is, what do they do while they're there? Doc?
Well, Casey Kane loves his race car. They're going to do right side tires, left upper side of your screen. Casey Kane, it'll be right side tires, topping off of fuel. Here's the bad news. They're going to be about 5 laps short on fuel. Dave.
Sadler right sides 2 times in a row. For the rookie, I think they're going to give him 4. That's what they talked about for Ryan Blaney in the 22. Jamie?
Sam Hornish Jr. was running 4th, but you guys mentioned something earlier in the race. You caught on the 54 has a loose windshield. Some of the rivets have popped off. You're going to see them go to work right now. Basically, they're going to put 2 screws in that windshield, put some Barabon tape over it. For 1, it's safety, and for 2, they have to pass post-race inspection, and they know that wouldn't get in. So, Rusty, you had caught on the onboard camera that we showed. It had a serious vibration. So Sam told his team that was the issue, so they're going to take the time here. They're going to start at the tail end of the lead lap, so that'll shuffle him back to about 26th position. So they're taking their time, making sure they get this windshield on there tight to last the rest of the race.
Yeah, the last thing they want to have happen is the windshield come out and get on the racetrack and hurt somebody or something like that. I tell you, we were speculating up here. We didn't know if this was planned. As maybe, sometimes the teams make that area weak so it moves around and helps aerodynamics. Obviously, we were wrong in that thought. They've just had a failure right here that they're fixing right now.
Fixing her up for Sam Hornish Jr. Still got plenty of time to go to try and race back to the front. NASCAR Nationwide Series presented by Victory Motorcycles. From Talladega, where we're after a long cleanup and a long caution, we're about to go back under green. Contact in the middle of the pack.
Calm down, boys.
You can see how unsettling that is, even on the straightaway. I mean, they just bumped right on the straightaway, and it's still just about turning around.
Sam Hornish, after the windshield repair, fell back to 22nd place, trying to charge back up through, as Elliott Sadler in the 11 continues to lead.
I want to take a look at the 7 car here. Regan Smith, he started back in 32nd. This is the same exact car that he won the opening race with at Daytona. He said they just didn't get the qualifying right. That's the reason he's back in the back, but really feels like he's got a fast car. And here we are right now. 71 laps in this race. He's up in 3rd. He was right. Got a good car. Another good performance for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s race team.
You see that fourth car in line on the bottom, that Ryan Sigan at 39. Still up front, even with that overheating issue. He had to get out of line to cool it down, but he's found his way back up there.
Another car I'm looking at right there is Chase Elliott in the 9 car. Alan, I mean, I look at drivers when they're brand new and what they can do. He passed the test on a short track, finished second. He won California. He won Texas. I'm not California, but Texas. Darlington. He's only got one thing to prove yet, and that's our road course. He's doing really good on these speedways. So this guy's getting an A+ on his test, that's for sure.
Without question. Part of the recipe today for Dale Jr.'s team, missing the mess. A lot of incidents up front. The last 2 cautions have happened at the very front of the pack. They have been fortunate and skilled enough to miss.
Yeah, it takes a little luck to miss wrecks here, but it also takes some skill. Make sure you're in the right spot and hopefully stay away from some of that, mess that's been happening. And we've seen quite a bit of that. And Chase Elliott's done a good job to keep his car cleaned up.
Yeah, he's hoping his luck holds out, Andy. Right now, they're worried about a vibration. Chase said he had a vibration in the car. They thought it might be tire issue. They came on the pit road. The tires were okay. They switched to a B ignition, and then they said, well, that didn't fix anything. They thought, well, maybe it's in the drivetrain somewhere. Maybe it's an engine problem, possibly a transmission problem. His dad, Bill Elliott, got on from a suite and talked to his young son and said, sometimes you get drivetrain vibrations on these super speedways. Well, just a little bit ago now, Chase says all the gauges have gone completely black and dark inside the car.
So electrical gremlins of some fashion.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're related. I know what Bill's talking about. There could be a lot of things at a super speedway. It seems like more drivers are more sensitive to vibrations at this kind of racing than others. And I think some of it can be aerodynamic. We saw how much shake got out of that windshield from the 54 from our camera.
So the car being lapped, James Busher, 99, repaired back on the racetrack after he was involved in the second caution of the race. Remember when he was running up front, got spun out. Others who are popping in and out of the frame and having good races. You see the yellow car outside lane, John West Townley, driving for Venturini Motorsports. Veteran crew chief Mike Beam heading the preparation there. Townley's second race of the day today. Already ran an ARCA race earlier today here at Talladega. Finished in the runner-up spot. Having a solid run in this nationwide event. And on the right side of the screen, 44, David Starr, the Texan. Veteran of running here in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And for TriStar Racing, putting their car in solid position.
Tommy Joe Martin behind John West Townley's car. He has been wearing his bumper out. And, man, they went into turn 3, Allen. He was right on his bumper, and I thought he was going to take Townley out. In the same corner, we've been seeing a lot of problems. I think those guys have just got to relax themselves a little bit entering turn 3. From inside a car, it must be an area where they feel like they can dive down and make a pass and get something done. And I think they're just taking advantage of that a little too much.
There's the first look today at Chris Busher in the 60. He's kind of played the patient game at the back of the pack for a lot of this race, but he's got a clean race car so far.
Yeah, that's the key right there. If you keep your car clean and avoid all those wrecks, you can have a good finish here.
Well, either that and you can be in a wreck, get it fixed, come back up through there like this 6 car on the outside. That's Trevor Bain.
And there's the car. It's all tore up, but the draft is making that car be able to do that.
He made 5 pit stops to repair this damage, and they must have done a pretty decent job. Here he is, charging to the front again.
Tell you what, I finished 3rd in the Daytona 500 with the whole right side of the car gone because I just followed somebody. Let them break there.
Everybody's following Elliott Sadler right now. He's out front for a couple of more laps. He will be on top of the laps led board at this point. The race for the lead at Talladega Superspeedway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Our telecast today presented by Victory Motorcycles. And a reminder to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Sadler, Blaney, Smith, Sieg, Elliott, the top 5, 24 on the lead lap and in the lead draft at the moment. Tomorrow night, something unique on Sunday Night Baseball. Dan Shulman and John Crook will call the Cardinals-Cubs game at Wrigley Field from the bleachers. Won't that be a hoot? To help celebrate the 100th anniversary of the old ballpark. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. The rivalry, St. Louis, Chicago, from Wrigley, 8 Eastern on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN.
You know, I don't watch much baseball, but I will be watching that game right there.
Won't that be a hoot? I think that'll be a lot of fun.
You will be pulling for the Cardinals, though, right?
If I don't pull for the Cardinals, my wife Patty, my wife Patty will definitely disown me. That's for sure.
Won't be allowed back into your hometown. Here's Elliott Sadler, whose hometown is Emporia, Virginia, leading at Talladega, Alabama. We are past the 200-mile mark of this one. We've only had 3 cautions, 1 for debris, but 2 for incidents where cars racing for the lead up front were turned around at the head of the pack, entering turn 3 by bump drafting gone wrong. And among the potential winners left in the mix, there are some other gremlins potentially popping up. Jamie?
And Regan Smith running third right now. He's had this gremlin since basically the start of the race. Earlier on under caution, he had cut the engine off to save fuel. But when he tried to fire it back up, it didn't work. So he went to the second battery. Well, the voltage hasn't been an issue all race. However, as we heard Doc Punch saying about Chase Elliott, his teammate, his gauges are switching on and off, and even Dale Earnhardt Jr. just came on the radio and told Regan, hey, I've had the same thing happen, but there's nothing we can do at this point, so let's just keep our eye on it. But like they said, voltage doesn't seem to be an issue, Alan.
All right, Jamie. Really, you're in the middle of the race at Talladega. There's nothing you can do about it now.
No, except worry. You're on top of the box. You sit there and worry about it to the end. And I've had this happen many times with an electrical problem. Sometimes it's never anything, but it can really worry you to the end. And they usually are some of the cars that get the better fuel mileage. So if they can't make it, it's likely that nobody will be able to make it without stopping.
And the likelihood is we get the caution flag in the late laps.
Yeah, and it could go extra laps. And I saw Regan, he's running third in that bottom line, and I saw him working the throttle some. He's able to maintain speed, and I think that's what got him thinking, hey, how much do I need to save to be able to make it?
What I got out of that also is Regan says, how much of a percentage of the throttle do I need to get off of to make it? I mean, how do you, as a crew chief, how do you tell the guy the number? He doesn't have a percentage gauge in there to say.
Oh, trouble. Eric McClure.
I got a flat tire. All of a sudden, I got a flat tire.
There's your explanation there. Eric had gotten back onto the lead lap at the last caution with the free pass. He was 19th in line. And in that same spot that's been the trouble spot all day, got turned around.
Rear, left rear, left rear.
Yeah, you can see right here is Eric McClure just riding along in that outside lane. He goes, oops, I got a problem. Jamie Dick barely makes contact with the bumper, but he's lost all the rear grip. Looks like maybe a left rear tire. It's hard to tell which one, but there's definitely something in the rear.
You know how lucky you are to spin at 200 miles an hour and not hit the wall? That was big time right there.
Pretty lucky.
Pretty lucky.
I'd prefer not to experience it, thank you.
Yeah, it's no fun. Especially when you go upside down here. That's really no fun.
Get the right side, so they can beat the right side straight in the middle up here.
So McClure had to make an unscheduled pit stop earlier in the race. It got him 2 laps down. He got them both back, and then this happens. If they can get him fixed up and get him back out before the pace car comes back around, he'll still be in the hunt for a decent finish.
And if we do,
and this stop right here will get him to the end of the race.
Be 33 to go when they come to the pit lane.
Regan won't have to worry about how much percentage of throttle he needs right now.
Need 100% now.
100% to the end. He's got enough gas. He will have enough gas.
Free pass here to Ty Dillon, who had just gotten lapped by the leaders, running around with his wounded race car from being involved in the last incident. And here they come. Will this be the last pit stop of the day? not so sure it will. But they've got to treat it like that. Doc?
Well, they can make it with fuel from here on out. Look at Chase Elliott. They're going to do fuel only and take a pound out of the left rear, 1 pound out of the left rear. Dave?
Keep your track position. First and second, both going to take right sides and fuel. Jamie?
Regan Smith, the call was 2 seconds of fuel, no tires. Get just enough fuel to get in that fuel window, out 4.2 seconds for the 7.
There's the strategy play, and there will be the running order when we go back to green at the world's fastest speedway.
Welcome back to Talladega. 32 to go, but let's get you caught up with the Ram Race rundown on things that you've missed so far. Number one, Ricky, the return of pack racing.
Yeah, and this is what we expected, that these drivers are going to have to seize the moment. They have momentum, take advantage of it because they cannot lock up and double draft.
We've had 4 cautions so far for 20 laps. This was caution number 2. The reason James Buescher went around on lap 44.
Yeah, he got bumped around a little bit, got back up into traffic, and took a couple of cars with him, but we have yet to see the monster of a wreck, but that was pretty bad.
Well, this was a pretty big one, an 8-car crash on lap 62.
Courage will get you to the front of the pack, but too much courage gets you in trouble, and I think that's what happened to Trevor Bayne.
And patience will get you to the end. You also need to have some patience on pit road. That's been a bit of a dicey area for some guys, including Chase Elliott just now.
Yeah, we see Chase here. He's got the green light to go, and the car comes in before him. He takes his time. It's really smart, though. Don't want to bump up these fenders and bend them because the aero is so important.
Leaving pit road here. Don't want to be late on this final stop. These guys are scrambling. Oh, it's really congested.
Tight.
You need your spotter to help you get out of the pits.
32 to go, and Alan, this is the part where you don't want to look away.
No. We always have the last lap pass for the win. Today shaping up to be much the same. The guy who made that last lap pass here a year ago, Regan Smith, in the 7, leads him to the green.
See Casey Kane trying to push that outside lane. It's been a frustrating day for Casey. He's tried to use out that second lane to move to the front and just not been able to get there. Trying to use this restart and Ryan Sieg to try to get that lead.
Well, I tell you what, not a frustrating day though for Ryan Sieg. I mean, here's a guy, no sponsors on that car, kind of an underdog. One of these guys looking for an opportunity, maybe can win up front. But look, Andy, not up front just now. I've been up front all day long in this car.
He's had some adversity, too. I mean, his engine's overheating. You can see steam blowing out the overflow. He had to get out of the pack, go to the back. Finds his way right up front. He got the lead by a little bit right there entering the corner.
Ryan Sieg is a 26-year-old from Tucker, Georgia. Only in his 13th career Nationwide Series race. His best finish, the season opener at Daytona. Now, Kane able to get in between Chase Elliott and Regan Smith, the junior cars, teaming up to get to the bottom lane together.
Yeah, poor Ryan Sieg. They just kind of dumped him off. But that's what Casey Kane's been trying to do the whole race, is get there with his teammates at the front. They've got them 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. This is a pretty potent combination.
David Reagan, first car in that outside lane. Haven't seen him at the front yet today. He's got the Gibbs guys behind him. 54, Sam Hornish, 11, Elliott Sadler.
Well, you talk about that junior motorsports team. They've just had a banner year all year long. 4 wins in the top first 8 races. Probably one of the best years Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s ever had with this race team. Kevin Harvick's winning in that car at Richmond. Chase Elliott, we've documented that story.
What happened there to Hornish? Accordion in that outside lane, and all of a sudden, 98, 54, they've disappeared.
They'll be back.
So what happened that scattered that outside line off turn 2 a lap ago?
sure. It looked like Elliott Sadler just kind of hung Sam Hornish out.
Yeah, he's got what we call hung out the drive with nobody to help him draft. Lost that momentum, and he's back there now. Well, now they're hooked back up, so the truck get their way back up to the front. It's going to take them probably not too long to do that.
So Sadler all the way back to 12th. Hornish 14th as they race. With 3 Dale Jr. cars occupying the first 3 spots.
Yeah, it's got to feel good, the success they've had this year. Being really the dominant team in the Nationwide Series, winning half the races. Now his car's running 1, 2, 3. Life is good for Junior Motorsports.
Kevin Harvick winning last week at Richmond. Chase Elliott winning the 2 prior races to that. 3 straight wins for the junior team. Last team to win 4 straight was Joe Gibbs Racing back in 2008. Obviously, they've got a shot to win a 4th straight today, but we've got a long way to go still.
Yeah, you look at that lap count, 27 to go. You think, well, we're getting right down to it, but not really. It takes a while to run 27 laps here at Talladega.
Yeah, 27 laps around this racetrack is a long way to go. I still have 10 laps buried in my head saying, man, you got to be in the right position with 10 to go, because that's when the stuff starts to get crazy.
Almost to 250 miles, 312 make up the scheduled distance. It's the Allen's 312 at Talladega, and it's being led by Regan Smith. On ABC and live on Watch ESPN, Game 7's NBA playoffs. 22 laps to go. Regan Smith leading. Ryan Blaney trying to mount a charge in the outside lane. 3 Chevys on the inside line, now 2 Fords in the outside line. Blaney and David Reagan in Mustangs.
Alan, that's what they need on that outside lane. They just needed some better cars with some more power. And when Blaney ducked out there, that really woke up that outside lane and really helped everybody.
Well, you can see this pack really getting organized. Everybody's right there together. The tail.
Sorry, Andy, 24 cars on the lead lap. 23 in the lead pack. Trevor Bayne has lost the draft. That's him ahead of this pack of leaders you caught a glimpse of a second ago.
Now there's 22 cars within basically 1 second right there. 22 cars. A lot of tracks we go to, it might not be a 1 second between first and second, not first and 22nd.
Yeah. Watching some of the cars damaged in the accidents earlier today. Darrell Wallace in the 20, Trevor Bayne in the 6. Be overtaken by this lead group. That outside lane, we were talking about it amongst ourselves during the commercial. Casey Kane's kind of been the one that led the charge trying to organize that outside lane and make it go, and was frustrated by it, it seemed like, for a lot of the race. Just couldn't get all the way to the leader. Brian Scott made the outside lane work up toward the front, then was taken out in the accident. Now we see another group again trying to organize this outside lane and find a way to make it work. Why won't that outside lane work today?
Well, Alan, I'm looking at the horsepower of these cars right. You got all these Hendrick guys, these Hendrick engines in the top 3 positions. You know, it's really good power. Some of the cars up top, I'm just not for sure, are as good on that top lane. I'm discounting the 22 car and the 11. The rest of them, you need some really fast cars with a lot of power in that top lane to be able to go around the longer way around the racetrack and get it done. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's something to
caution.
Caution.
Debris on the front straightaway. Something just came off of one of the cars that was damaged in one of the earlier accidents, probably from Trevor Bayne's.
I think he blew a left front tire.
See a fire?
Left front looks locked
right
up.
front too. Yeah, he's got probably had a tire rub. Got a big mess.
Right front's down. And the left front's locked up. Jamie?
And the spotter, Jason Hedleski, calling the shots, saw that fire about 15 seconds ago. He was talking his driver through what was happening, and he said, you need to come down pit road. We are on fire. And remember, all that damage, he pitted about 7 or 8 times. So it looks like their day could be finished now.
I'm surprised that car was running as good as it was. We commented on how well that thing was running in the draft with all that damage, but
yeah, it could have ruptured an oil cooler in that earlier contact, and then that fire could have actually blown these tires out if he had a good enough flame under the hood. I could smell from here, you could smell rubber burning.
That's just my brain cells actually trying to figure out how this is going to work here. And I'll ask and we can discuss. Do we see pit stops here? They were inside a fuel window when they stopped last time. Do we see pit stops?
Not me. Not if I'm making the call. I'm staying out.
And I'm curious, with team cars being lined up and brand cars where they are, how you're sitting on the pit box. How you strategize this restart to get yourself in the right lane so you've got a chance, because the laps are running low, and we just were talking about that outside lane doesn't seem to be working today.
Yeah, but the only one that has the choice in that is Regan Smith. If he stays out, he'll be the leader. He can decide whether he starts on the inside lane or the outside lane, and the top 3 cars are Junior Motorsports cars. So I don't think there's an advantage or disadvantage either way, because I think they can figure out a way to get back together on this restart.
About 15 laps since the last stop. So there's obviously plenty of laps.
The only reason I would pit, if there's any of these guys that have seen excessive tire wear, worry about the right front, maybe they'll come, but I would not pit my car right now at all if I didn't have any tire issues. It's just too tough to pass. I mean, this new rules package has made it very, very hard to make any ground. He can wave it all day, and I'm not going to bring my car down.
Stay out.
Think they listen to you, Andy.
No takers. Sam Hornish be the first one in. And he pits from 15th place. Still working the caution here at Talladega Superspeedway as we get ready for the frantic final laps of this one for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Then a week off before the series moves on to Iowa Speedway, Charlotte, Dover, Michigan, Road America. What a great variety of tracks coming up in the month of June and the rest of the month of May. And hope you'll join us at the track. NASCAR.com/tickets with the number at the bottom of the screen. So when we got to the caution flag, the junior motorsports teams that all started back in the 30s in this race had worked their way to 1, 2, and 3. But one of those guys is going to have to go to the outside lane for this restart, and then they're going to have to try and get back together again in the draft. Regan Smith, the leader, is our ESPN in-race reporter, and he's agreed to talk to us under the caution here.
Regan Smith, Rusty Wallace up in the ESPN booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, Rusty. Loud and clear, man.
Hey, buddy, good job so far, man. 32nd up to first, but I got a big question for you. Is that where you really want to be running with 1 lap to go, or would you rather be back there in second and getting prepared for that big draft for the start-finish line?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for that for you. Unfortunately, I got 2 teammates behind me right now, so we'll try and make that happen. And if we can either way just fight it out amongst the ARM cars 1, 2, 3, then that's what we'll do. I anticipate the outside line getting another run at some point here. They were working on it right before that caution came out, so a lot of racing left to do. You know how this place is.
Regan, we've been talking up here in the booth. It looks like the top lane for a long time has not been moving at all, and you guys have been getting it done on the bottom. Are you concerned that top lane won't run right now?
Well, not really. If you ask me, it's because we got 3 fast junior motorsports Chevys lined up on the bottom, and they can't compete with us. So, I think that's got something to do with the bottom line rolling. But, we'll see. You get the right cars lined up, and they can make it happen.
All right, buddy. Have a great race. Thanks for talking to us.
I'm going to go.
Well, a year ago here at Talladega, in the frantic finish, it was Regan Smith in the 7, who, as chaos and mayhem broke out behind him, found a way to fight around everybody who was trying to be in his way. And when the caution wave was just ahead of that Penske 22, at the time of caution, the 7 by that much. And he scored the win. Took him a minute to get the word. NASCAR had to go back and confirm the exact moment of caution and who was ahead of who. But Regan Smith, the winner here a year ago. Now, Regan has chosen the outside lane for this restart.
Yeah, he's the one that's got the lane choice, and that's the best way to keep these junior motorsports cars lined up, because if they make a deal with the other two cars, they can get the jump here on this start, pull down in front, and you'll have them 1, 2, 3 again.
Look at the restart. David Starr, Mike Bliss, Chad Boat, Jeremy Clements. The great equalizer that the Talladega draft is.
Tell you what, I was really surprised at Regan's comments about how confident he is of the top lane. We've been seeing him on the bottom, but he answered a question I did wonder about. We did talk about. They got so much horsepower with Junior Motorsports on that bottom lane, they feel like they can move up to the top lane and get it done also. I haven't seen it.
I bet they don't.
I'll have to see it.
I bet they get glued to the bottom.
It's been working for them. I'd go to the bottom. But it's all about one lap to go, isn't it? They get within 10, that's when all the crazy stuff starts happening. But then they got to get set up. A lot of times you do not want to be leading that race, because those guys behind you will eat you up and spit you out, and he knows it.
23 cars on the lead lap. There'll be 14 laps to go. Expect the 5 to hesitate for a second on the restart, the 7 to pull down in front of him, and then we'll see what turns from there.
Exactly what they did. Already 1, 2, 3 on the bottom.
Now David Starr and Mike Bliss are the first 2 cars in that outside lane. Jeremy Clements, Ryan Sieg, 3rd and 4th in line.
We can hear Chase Elliott having to get out of the throttle just a little bit. I'm not sure if they were having to lift in front of him.
Looks like
Starr gets the lead.
He's getting bumped in the back pretty hard by the 60 car, Chris Buescher.
David Starr turns down in front of Regan Smith.
Dig hard, you got Regan behind you.
That was a great move by David Starr.
Hear the spotter saying, dig hard, dig hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, as a driver, you're wide open anyway. It's pretty hard to dig anymore.
Can't push that throttle any harder, can you?
No, you can't. You already got the floorboard bent, trying to make those babies go. I'll tell you, I got to give a shout out that these underfunded teams. You look up there and see that 44 car leading that race, and that 39 of Ryan Seed so strong today. Mike Bliss's number 19 car has been up there, looking good.
They have Mark Smith, the TriStar. Got to be really proud to see his car out front.
Ryan Blaney, Elliott Sadler. I was just about to say, when does somebody try the outside again? Here they go.
And this time they may have some more advantage with that 44 on the lead and not having one of the stronger cars like Regan Smith or some of the ones we've seen up front leading that line. This might be an opportunity for the outside lane.
Yeah, I personally think there's more horsepower under the hood of that 7 car than there is the 44. I'm not for sure, but that 44 could be slowing him down.
You see that shot Regan Smith gives him right there off the corner.
He's like, get out of the way. 44 is like, I'm not moving nowhere. I got a fast car too.
You're going to have to pass me.
That's right.
No one has been called today for push drafting. Remember, you're allowed to bump draft. You're not allowed to lock bumpers and push draft.
I've really not seen anything that would call that I think they should call out as a penalty. I've seen a lot of bumping, but I haven't seen any of the real tandem pushing today.
The temptation's going to get a lot greater.
Yep, you're right, as these laps wind down.
That's right.
Andy, earlier I told you about these cars getting compacted together so tight you just can't really make a move. That's what's going on right now. There's hardly much air when these guys get in the center of the corner. I've seen them many times get compacted, and man, it's hard to move that car around when that's going on.
I think Regan Smith's doing an incredible job of being just so close to the back bumper of David Starr without pushing and getting a penalty. He's drafting right there within inches.
Yeah, he whacked him a couple times and then got off his bumper, gave him a break because he didn't want to get busted by NASCAR. Regan didn't.
David Starr, the 46-year-old from Houston, Texas originally, out in front as Chase Elliott pops out from the inside lane. Going to make a run to the outside.
I'm not sure if he meant to or if he kind of got forced out there.
A little bump from behind that set him out of control.
It could have been. I don't know if he did this on purpose or not, but he's got to make it work now. And then he is.
We'll take a look. It's 10 to go. We're coming up at 10 laps to go right now. This is go time. These cats have got to get it on.
Regan Smith shuffled out of the middle.
And Casey Kane was trying to block that outside lane on his teammate, Chase Elliott.
Oh, boy. A lot of contact here. And turned away. Chad Boat into that inside wall hard.
And he hit exactly at the wrong spot, right where that wall protrudes out.
And having such a good day. That's too bad. We could see it happening, though, couldn't you?
Well,
intensity level coming up. More bumping, shoving.
I can promise you, when we go back green, that's when it's going to get really crazy. I hate this for Chad Boat.
Yeah, he's running 7th.
Window net's down. That's great news. He looks like he's in okay shape at the moment.
Well, going back off of turn 4, when Chase Elliott got kind of popped out of that inside line, the whole group kind of accordioned together. When they came off of turn 2 and Regan Smith got popped out of line, they really started knocking bumpers and fenders, and the end result was that.
Yeah, it's just everybody was just, like you said, just so jammed up. He was running 7th, right here on the bottom. I mean, he was in a good spot. You see everybody just getting antsy. Ah, that's too bad. Look at this. Now, this is a bad spot he hit.
Thank gosh that soft wall was there. That wall.
Guarantee he didn't think it was soft.
I'll tell you, that wall that NASCAR and the guys have designed, that's really helped a lot of drivers. I can tell you that.
You can see it was just an accordion thing, and everybody kind of just had to check up just a little bit. I mean, Jeremy Clements did make the contact that sent him spinning, but it obviously not intentional.
You can't go below those yellow lines and advance your position. You're trying not to lift out of the gas, but you got somebody hung by the left rear.
Let's shorten that thing up.
And that was a hard hit.
You can see even the outside lane, everybody was jammed up. Yeah, it's a good thing they have protected that with a safer barrier.
One of the greatest inventions NASCAR's ever invented, with a lot of help from different people. But boy, I really think it saved lives. I think it saved a lot of people. There's a big
caution out with less than 10 laps to go now. And I come back to that whole thing starting. My curiosity goes back to how Chase Elliott got popped out of line off of turn 4 that really started that whole accordion thing. And whereas before we saw Dale Jr.'s team trying to orchestrate the restart to get themselves lined up 1, 2, 3, David Starr gets bumped around to the front, and then the whole thing starts to fall apart for the junior team.
Well, not totally, though. I think now this might be an actual break, because you got Chase Elliott now the leader. In 4th place, you have Casey Kane. So Chase can choose the outside lane, and he'll have help from him on that outside lane.
You know, that's all that stuff we're talking about right now is great stuff to talk about. But if it's 2 laps to go, you can maybe make a deal and figure out what lane's going to be the one to get in. But we got 7, 8 laps to go. There's a lot of time, and I couldn't predict right now what you got to do to win this race, because everybody behind them is going to get such a big draft.
Yeah, there may not be enough lanes on this track.
That's right. I mean,
get bumped a lot is what you got to do, and keep it straight while you're getting bumped. You know, I mean, that's what we've seen so far. Going to be interesting for sure. So through all that jumbling and jamming, Chase Elliott ends up as the race leader. How many laps will there be left when the green flag waves, Stock?
Well, let's check it in Chase Elliott's pit here with Greg Ives. And Greg, we've heard on the radio about vibrations, gauges going blank, backup ignitions, and now with a few laps to go, you guys are leading. Does Chase have enough experience and race car to hold on here?
Well, we're sure making it exciting here in the Nationwide Insurance Series with this Napa Camaro, and he's doing a well of a job. You know, we're not satisfied with our qualifying effort yesterday, and you know, it gave us advantage to maybe learn a little bit about the draft and have him gain some experience. So, you know, he had 110 laps to gain some experience, and hopefully he has enough for the end, and I think he does.
He said at Daytona the last lap he got shuffled from 3rd and finished 15th. He said what he learned at Daytona was, I've got to be aggressive in the final 2 or 3 laps. What does that mean?
Just kind of like what you just saw. You know what I mean? He saw a move and he took it. In Daytona, you know, he didn't make that move, and today he did. So we'll see if we hold on to it, and if we do, great. If not, we're going to learn a lot from this experience.
All right, Greg Ives, Chase Elliott from 37th now to leading with a few laps to go. Dave.
Doc standing by with Greg Conner, who is calling the shots for David Starr. Okay, I know you're watching to see which lane you get. How do you think David handles this restart?
Well, I hope he does really good. Right now, Steely Lumber Toyota's been really good all day. They're going to take the top side, which puts us at the bottom, which is better for us. We've been really bad up top. So hopefully we'll get a good run here. Last time we got a good run, their teammates were trying to get together and held them up a little bit. So a little bit of help here, be 5-6 laps to go, and we'll see how it takes out. Typical Talladega.
On that last restart, it looked like the Junior Motorsports team had it nailed. How hard were you willing David to the front on that outside line?
Oh, we were all just screaming and hollering. I think we drove for him, but he did a good job. I think they held up a little bit trying to get together. They let us get a run. So we'll see what happens here.
All right. The 44 has a shot. Doc?
And let's check in with Ernie Cope. You've got the most experienced driver up there in that front 4, 5, or 6 with Casey Kane. What does he have, and what does he do here in the final laps?
Hopefully he just pushes that 9 car. I mean, Nationwide Insurance got another great race on their hands here. Hopefully we clear the 44. I mean, you never know. The 22 is going to be pushing the 44, so we'll see how it shakes out.
All right, Casey Kane going to try to help his teammate, the 9 car, but I got to believe, AB, in the final lap or two, it's every man for himself.
Yeah, everybody wants the trophy. You see Chase Elliott has chosen the outside lane to be lined up in front of Casey Kane, but, you know, can they get the jump and can they make it go?
Plan is the 43 is going to push the 5 and he's going to push you, and we're going to wait till the 5 gets past the 44 before we come down. I was about to ask that.
All that pushing's fine, but you can't push too much.
Well, they can't be making contact. And there's other, when they're saying push, they mean as much as aerodynamic push as they do a mechanical push. They have to stay really locked in line to make the most efficient draft they can.
6 laps to go when they get the green flag. Chase Elliott outside in the 9 is the leader. David Starr, 44. Beside him, second row is Ryan Blaney, 22. And 5, Casey Kane.
Not able to do it. Look, David Starr gets a big lead on Chase Elliott. I'm shocked. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting right now, that top lane. Because you got fast cars, the 22 car. Blaney taking the lead right there.
Lead, yep. Ryan Blaney, who I thought was back, and now Elliott Sadler to his inside. Oh, trouble! Back into the pack. Hard hit on the outside wall.
I hold that caution.
Jeremy Clements in that 51. You see Casey Kane's car in flames. And another crash in the late laps. Takes out more.
Stall, let's take a look at the right side.
Winners.
Is your steering wheel way off?
A hard hit on the right side of that 51 car for Jeremy Clements. You see him climbing from the machine. That's good to see. Look how torn up that car is. There's a fine line between the side drafting, the bump drafting, trying to block and defend the lead or keep somebody behind you, and contact that puts you into the wall.
Alan, there is a fine line, and a lot of that goes on early in the race. At the very end of the race, it's all about each other, and it's all about just take and no give, and that's what's going on with this late.
Yeah, that was a move. Brian Blaney made an aggressive move to get that side draft, and it was a little too aggressive. He's basically kind of the one I would put at fault for that one.
Yeah, he body slammed himself down in there, but a lot of times when you see the inside line going away from you, you want to sail back down there, lock up on that guy's right side, then kill his aerodynamics so he doesn't advance on you. That was a very aggressive way to do it if that's what happened.
Yeah, good angle there. I wanted to see if he got nipped from behind by anybody. I didn't think that he had, but that confirms it. And Chase Elliott took a piece of that.
That's what sent Jeremy Clements hard into the wall. But that 9 car has damage.
Ty Dillon's view.
Still 3 wide. They're wrecking up top. Stand up gas at the bottom. Stand the gas at the bottom. Clear. All clear. All clear. All clear. Hang out right there. Hang out. Caution out. Caution.
And from Chase Elliott's view.
What a hard hit for Elliott.
You got it on both sides.
Tell you what, guys, I really think that Blaney came down to stop that advance of the draft, and that's what caused that.
Oh, that was such a hard lick for Jeremy Clemens. Good to see him get out of that car. That was tough lick.
And the red flag out. You see the field parked. And a lot of cleanup to be done here to get this race back underway.
See what Chase Elliott has to deal with. They may need to make a pit stop and clearance those fenders. It's like the tires are up.
You can see in the back side of the right front fender at Elliott's car, it looks like the fender's laying right against the tire, it looks like.
Now, all of this came about after the order at the front of the pack was really jumbled on the last restart. This caught my eye. Tell me what you think. Look how far back Ryan Blaney is off of David Starr. He got a run that was able to give that 44 a big bump draft and push him out ahead of the 9 and 5 and make that inside lane, help it go.
No, that's exactly what happened. It's a great call on your part. I mean, he pushed him and got him going and just accelerated him right out there.
It's amazing to me, though, how many spots Chase Elliott lost on that restart. He was the leader. And he looked like he got the jump. I mean, he went. But like you said, that bump that the 22 gave David Starr, evidently enough to move him by. And then here they go.
And bumped by him.
Yeah.
And from there, it got ugly at the end of this straightaway right here. So, just every time I see that, what a vicious hit for Jeremy Clemens. And so glad to see him pop out of that 51 car.
I mean, you watch the 22, even Ryan Blaney, he made a pretty good lick up there on that outside wall. But then, boy, when you see Clements, about 10 times worse.
So red flag is out. We're going to have less than 5 laps to go when the race resumes. And quiet along the pit lane for just a moment, Dave.
And Chris Gale is the crew chief for the car that got bounced off of. How fortunate do you think you are to escape that?
Very fortunate. Just looked like a deal where we got to to the bottom. He didn't realize we were there. He wasn't completely clear and got into us. Unfortunate, but I kind of like our position where we're sitting right now. Looking forward to these next 5 laps.
Were you surprised how poor restart the 9 got and helped you guys get to the front?
You know, I wasn't sure. Yes, I was surprised it was that bad, but that bottom line had been getting a good run for a while there, and so I knew if 3 guys would stay lined up and get going, it's like, okay, this could be really good for us. So really optimistic about the next few laps.
11 car in a good position, Doc.
And what about the 98 car? John Hansen calling the shots for a small team with a big chance today. What about your driver? How does he stack up against the 3 cars in front of him?
Well, I think we got the best one out there for sure. Roush Yates, engine, good car. We're starting 3rd here, so we'll be on the inside, and we'll just give it a shot with 5 to go.
Your guy has won 2 races here at Talladega. Last May, the Cup race, and his very first nationwide race with last lap passes. Why is he so good on the last lap? I know you guys have chatted about it.
Yeah, I don't know. He'd have to tell you that one. I think we'll be pretty good here. We'll just see what happens.
David Reagan led 2 laps, 2 races here, 1 nationwide, 1 Cup, and won them both, Alan, so stay tuned.
Well, David Reagan is one of those guys that the drafting racing seems to be something he has a real knack for. He's won at Daytona before, and he's won here at Talladega before in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. This a year ago when the usual late big one set up a frantic scramble to the finish. And David, driving the 34 car for Front Row Motorsports, got to the checkered flag first. Still under the red flag, still cleaning up here at Talladega. Our NASCAR Nationwide Series telecast today presented by Victory Motorcycles. And still with 5 very unpredictable laps left to go, especially after what we've seen here in the last 45 minutes to an hour or so of this one. We're working our 7th caution of the day, and a number of hits and bangs and crunches here in these late laps at Talladega have certainly thinned the herd of potential winners. Chad Boat getting turned out of traffic on the backstretch a little while ago. And then Jeremy Clements in this most recent caution with a huge hit into the barriers in turn number 3. Ryan Blaney first in, and then Clements clipped. And what a heavy impact. Drivers putting all their safety gear to the test today, including that SAFER barrier. Steel and foam energy reduction is what SAFER stands for, developed by the folks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Midwest Center for Roadside Safety, and Dr. Dean Sicking at the University of Nebraska. It has been one of the great safety innovations. I remember the late Benny Parsons always saying they got to do something about these hard walls we hit.
Yeah, the drivers always said just make the wall softer somehow. And you're right. Nebraska State University, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NASCAR, all these guys were involved in this.
And certainly one of the great safety innovations for protecting drivers in this sport's history. Waiting for the yellow flag and the field to be fired back up. Let's check with Jamie.
Well, Chad Boat, as you guys mentioned, it was one of the hardest hits we've seen all day. It took you a little while to get out here, Chad. How are you feeling, and are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. They were just keeping me because it was such a hard hit, but I'm fine. All my safety equipment did their job. So, I just can't say enough about my team. For a small team, we were running pretty good, and, it sucks. Just seemed like they stacked up there in front of me, and then I got tagged from the rear. Kind of a racing deal, but unfortunate that it was so close to the end, but so far, I think there's still 10 to go. So,
Billy Boat Motorsports, this is just your 3rd ever start in the Nationwide Series. When will we see you back?
We'll be back at the next 2, Iowa and Charlotte, so we're looking forward to that. We got brand new cars for both of them, so we'll be back.
Great to see you're okay. We'll move over here to Casey Kane, meanwhile. Casey, hard hit for you as well. That's not the welcome back to Nationwide that we wanted to see. Are you okay, and what happened?
Yeah, I didn't have a hard hit at all. I just ran in the back of the 22 when he came off the wall. He came back across and really had nowhere to go. So I hit him, and then an oil line or something broke. So it was a quick fire, went out, but my car wouldn't run, so I just had to go to the care center. But it was, we had a really good, great Clip Chevrolet. We were right in the middle of it throughout the whole race, got right to the front. And I just wanted to get to the last lap and see if we could somehow figure out how to win. The team did a nice job. Junior Motorsports cars have been up front every week, so it's nice to drive one. I had a good time.
Are we going to get to see you back in one of these races?
I hope so.
Maybe Daytona?
Daytona for sure. And then there's like 3 more races that I'd like to run. We're trying to put that together, and so we'll see what happens.
Despite a bad day, he's still optimistic, excited to come back, Dave.
And Jamie, the 22 of Ryan Blaney, the car that triggered all that, he is starting to roll off a little bit so the crew can get a good look at the clearance they've done on the right side. And the way that he hit flush like that, they think that he might be okay to go. So they've made repairs to get those tires cleared. And Alan, haven't we seen at these restrictor plate races before where a damaged race car can sometimes come back to the front?
Nothing would surprise me with what we've seen today. There aren't going to be too many cars left to finish this thing that aren't damaged in some way, Dave. Chris Buescher's car looks pretty clean. 60 car now running second to Elliott Sadler. And maybe the young one from Texas has a shot at this win.
I was scanning the 7, and they were saying that when the 9 was in that outside lane, he did not try to side draft or do anything. And they felt like that's why that inside line just flew by him. 10-4, got it.
Interesting observation.
Yeah, but be careful. That's what caused this last caution. Somebody trying to too aggressively side draft.
Yeah. Chase Elliott's in, Doc.
And right front damage. The right front tire is towed out. They don't have time to fix it. Damage behind the right rear tire. They're going to try to make a damage assessment and do the best they can. Change tires. They said, Chase, it's towed out. Not going to be able to do much there. Pull on the fender. Try to get him some downforce there and make sure everything's okay there. Finally got the tire off and the wheel off. It was buckled in against the tire. Now they'll try to peel that away and get a fresh right front tire on. So a damaged car, number 9, got into the outside wall after being hit in the quarter panel. Now they go ahead and change left side tires. And Chase said the car may be drivable just fine. We'll see, although it's not going to drive real well, obviously with the damage on the right front and the right rear.
They got this one shot to fix it. It's one to go.
And he's got to catch up in the field also before
they're in turn 2 now.
The green flag. So doubled up for the restart. We'll see green with 3 laps to go. How this one's going to turn out at Talladega, your guess is good as mine. I do know this for sure. In 2 weeks, the Nationwide Series returns to the track at Iowa Speedway for a Sunday afternoon show, 1:30 Eastern on ESPN. Trevor Bayne, Brad Keselowski, the 2 winners at Iowa there a year ago. Somebody's going to take home a trophy from Newton, Iowa next race. That's in a couple of weeks here on ESPN. Always a good one. So 3 laps to go when they come to the green. The last couple of restarts, mayhem would be a fairly appropriate word.
Definitely mayhem. 4 laps to go.
Got 18, make it 19 cars on the lead lap. And we're going to equal the longest green flag stretch to finish a race here at Talladega in the last 11 times. Of course, the distance of a green-white checker finish is 3 laps. So if we don't get through this one, then there's a chance we'll have another 3-lap run to the finish.
And then maybe another one.
Up to 3. Elliott Sadler, the leader. David Reagan, 98 behind him. Outside lane, Chris Buescher, 60. Regan Smith, 7. 3 laps to go. Hold your breath.
Dead heat going into 3.
You got to remember that 98 car we're looking at right there. That's got Roush power. So a lot of horsepower under the hood of that 98 car also. It can get the job done.
David Reagan, you saw bumping Elliott Sadler, but not leaning on him. Pushes the 11 to the front. Somebody overheating in the middle of that pack. Looks like Joey Gase in the 52. 2 laps to go. Sadler and Chris Buescher. Single file now. Double wide for 3rd. Reagan and Regan Smith.
Elliott Sadler kind of blocked both lanes.
Get down. Check the bottom.
Not going to be able to hold off Chris Buescher, though.
He's got this 7 car, Regan Smith, right behind him. We know that car is fast. Same car won the race in Daytona for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team.
Here they come to the white flag. We are on the last lap of the race. Chris Buescher outside, Elliott Sadler inside. Bumping, pushing, side drafting. Who gets back first?
And nobody can clear each other. They're locked together side by side drafting.
Landon Castle and Joe Nemechek, the 3rd pair, if something happens to these front 4. Cars steaming and overheating everywhere. Castle with a move to the inside. Reagan blocks him off. That clears Elliott Sadler in front. Final corner. Regan Smith looking to the outside. To the checkered flag. Elliott Sadler wins it.
Hell yeah! That's the way to call it. Great job, man. Great job.
The emotion is overcoming. Congratulations. You won race one, Angelo Elliott Sadler. You won the victory lane. That's awesome. He celebrated a birthday this week, did Elliott Sadler?
So glad we finally won a race with me.
You know, some drivers talk about how they hate racing here because it's so nerve-wracking, but boy, does it feel good when you win here.
Oh, gosh, when you win a super speedway like Talladega, that's everything in the world. Got that victory, and right now, he's only 1 point out of the lead for the championship.
Sadler's last win was in August of 2012. Paired up with Joe Gibbs Racing, was frustrated last season. Have started this season with a couple of frustrating days also, but then the corner began to turn a few weeks ago. Had a great chance to win at Darlington, ran well last race, and here at Talladega, used that experience in those drafts and a pretty strong race car, by the way, to hold them all off in that frantic finish and score a win.
He earned this one. I'll tell you, that was a tough race. It was really nerve-wracking. Put himself in the right position and pulled it off.
He had a great restart. He did what he had to do at the very end. You saw him running right in the center there, blocking off the top lane and the bottom lane.
Oh, that's great. Look at him now. I love the motion. He's got it right now.
What about that guy? Chris Buescher, great run for that young man.
Almost pulled it off.
Yeah, he almost won that race.
Regan Smith has to settle for third. Not sure I thought they'd make it around those 3 laps without somebody getting turned sideways out of this lap. Look at the cars. Bumping, pushing sideways.
Steam, flying. You see the 01 of Castle tried to make a move on the bottom, and somebody shut the door on him. They didn't crash.
Sam Horner sneaks in there.
And our Midas golden touch of the race to Elliott Sadler, who had a little luck on his side, made all the right moves. I remember one point he was locked in that outside lane about 7-8 rows back, and we were sitting there saying, how they going to make that work to get to the front? Well, they did. Doc?
Yeah, Regan Smith, Mr. Restrictor Plate. He won at Daytona. He won this race a year ago. And Regan, you made several moves on that last lap. Take us through what you were doing or what you were trying to do here off of 4.
I don't know what I was trying to do. I was just trying to get to where I had a little daylight out front of the race car and could finish off the move with the Ragu Chevy. But, nonetheless, these guys keep building fast speedway cars. I love coming to these places with the equipment Junior Motorsports gives us. And, we needed that. We've been in the top 10 all year long, but we needed to get back in the top 5. And we've been working hard. It's, it's been a little bit of a grind at times this year. So, hate being able to see the flag and not get there first. But, it was a good day nonetheless.
All right, well done by Regan Smith. Alan?
While those last few laps were going on, Jeremy Clements was released from the Infield Medical Center. Good news there after that hard crash he was involved in. He's okay. And really okay is Elliott Sadler with his first win in the Nationwide Series at Talladega, the 7th different winner this season, and he's going to celebrate.
And he's shaking and he's sweating and he's worked hard today. And after you fell back, Elliott, how'd you get up there and win?
Well, we just got on the inside line there, and we just had to make some good moves, and the seat kind of opened up for us. But this means a lot to me to get these guys in victory lane. I disappointed them last year and weren't able to do it. We have a lot of people here from One Main Financial today. So glad to win with Mary and Kim and all those guys here. It means a lot to me. And do it at Talladega. Everybody else always asks about flipping at Talladega. Damn it, now we won one at Talladega, so this feels a lot better.
We talked before the race about getting here. You mentioned Brett Griffin, your spotter. How important was having such a good spotter today?
Well, he did a good job there at the end. And under the red flag, I was playing all these scenarios in my head, really on how many races I've lost here in the last couple laps, not making the right decision. But we just stayed to the bottom, stuck to our guns. David Reagan did a good job pushing us, and we were just able to hold those guys off at the end. So Brett did a great job. He deserves this. He did a great job getting us all on the front row yesterday. But it means a lot. I'm telling you, it means a lot for me to get this JGR team to victory lane. They worked their butts off last year. I wasn't able to reward them. Chris is doing a great job. We're getting a lot of momentum on our side. We let one get away from us at Darlington. So to come back here and do one for all our sponsors with Sport Clips, Coca-Cola, One Main Financial, Toyota, everybody that's a partner at JGR, man, makes us feel good.
Elliott didn't overthink it, and he's in victory lane at Talladega.
Chris Gale, the crew chief, celebrating a win.
Some of the best racing I've seen all year long in the Nationwide Series. It didn't disappoint us today. Nobody got hurt. We saw some great racing. I loved it.
And in a couple of weeks, it's on to the Iowa Speedway, Sunday, May 18th, 1:30 Eastern on ESPN for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And next on ESPN is Sports Center. Lots to talk about in the sports world, including Elliott Sadler's Talladega win.
People love to say, well, anything can happen. At Talladega, anything doesn't just happen. It's standard operating procedure.
They're all wrecking behind you. Everybody's wrecking.
And anything doesn't care who you are, what lap it is, or how many laps you've led. The only lap that matters is the last one.